In this video, we're going to focus on how we can create a pill-shaped bar chart where we consider if we only have one value, it will make that bar a pill shape individually. So to do this, the first thing what we need is our boiler template, which you can find here on chartjs3.com getting started. Once you're on here, copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. Next, if you want to get the source code of this video and many others, check out my Patreon page. And of course, got a question, put it on Discord. All the links are in the description box. So the first thing what I want to do to create the pill shape item is to have at least 2 data sets, because this will only work with 2 data sets by default, or at least that's what we want. So let's put them in there safe. Alright, so now they're side by side. Let's stack them up. So I'm going to say here, we're going to say here for the X scale, we will say stacked. Set it on true. Put a comma. Copy this. Comma, paste, save, refresh. There we are. Now let's give this all a border radius and make sure we have all of these borders here. So what I do for the options, by default, I'll say here border skipped and set this on false. We don't want to skip a border. Put a comma here, save, refresh. There we are. So once we have this, let's give it a border radius. So the border radius, we can just say here border radius. And we're going to say here, I'm going to break that down because you can see here the very top, or hold on, let me just change the colors first. We're going to make these black, and then we're going to put in here. So remove the color here, and I guess this one as well. So we only have here the red and the black. Let's save, refresh, there we are. So what I want to do now is give this a border radius on both sides. So to do this, we just say here comma, and this is the red one. So the red one would be here down. I want a border radius on the bottom left and the bottom right. So we're going to say here border radius bottom left, make it 10 pixels, and then bottom right 10 pixels. Let's save that, refresh, there we are. Let's copy and do the same for the black bars, but now instead of bottom, we're going to work on the top. So once we did this, save that, there we are. We have everything. But what happened if we're missing one specific value? Let's remove one of the black one here, save, refresh. There we are. So now we have to figure out this. We have a missing item here and this doesn't look nice. So how do we fix that? Well, what we have to do is create a if statement. So for this, I'm going to create a callback functionality where we're going to check 2 things. Number 1, we're going to check if this one has a value, and if it does the other data set, in this case the black data set, have a value as well? If not, we basically need to have not only the bottom left and the bottom right, but also the top left and the top right. So what I'm going to do here, let's remove all of this for now. I'm going to make it callback. So I say ctx, so we get back, so we get the details inside. Do a console log, say ctx, save, refresh. Open up the developer tab. There we are, we're getting all this information, and you can see here we get the data index, which is basically the data point. All of them, and if we go somewhere to 6, that would be that one here, and that's alright. It still gives a value, of course, because we're in this current item. If we do the same here down, you will see that, or let's remove one. Let's remove this one, or say here null, save, refresh. We will have now in our data set, I think it's data set 4 or 5. Do we have a value here? No. Let's see which one is that. I guess it's data set 5. Index value raw equals null, so it means no value. Well, normally raw would be 12 if it's the value of 12 on Friday. There we are. So this information will help us to see which dataset has the information. So what I really want to do is I want to loop through it and then say with this, let's go access this dataset here. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, I want to grab here the data index. There we are. And then I'm going to say here console log again, and I'm going to show you how we can access deeper values. So we can say here ctx.chart, and once we do this, let's open this. We go here into the data object, open that, and you can see here all the data sets. I just need to go to index 1 then and do a comparison. So let's start to do this. Data sets, and then the comparison will be with dataset 1, because we only assume we have one data set here, or There's two data sets, 0 or index 1. Then we say here dot data, and we're going to grab here this point. So let's say here constant data point equals this. Alright. Then I'm going to grab that, put it in there, save, refresh. There we are, we're getting something here, but it gives us a number 66 is an issue. Alright, my bad. This is a mistake from my part because I said we have to go to the data object first. Then we have this. Alright, there we are. Now we can see all the details. Let's start to fix all of them one by one. So what I want to do is basically we can just say a constant. I'll just give it val for now, just for simplicity. And then say here if val equals, well, I will not make it equal strict, but I will make it equal because it could be either undefined, or null. If that is the case, what I want to do is I want to return the following. Basically everything we had here from top left all the way to bottom left. Top left, and then just copy this again. Make sure we have a comma here. Say here this will be the bottom left. Copy that, put that in there, and bottom right. Save, refresh. There we are. This one starts to work. Now we have to figure out this one. Or, hold on. And then, if this is fine, however, else, if we do have a value, so it's not defined or null, in that case, I want to return what exactly? Just only the bottom in this case. Let's save that. There we are. So let's test if I have a value, or I think that's already fine. It does work. So what I want to do now is just grab this logic and do the same for the lower one. Let's copy this. Then I'm going to put it here. Alright. However, here the comparison will be with dataset 0 because we are now in dataset 1. And then this here should be corrected by saying top because we're now focused on the top part if ever. Save, refresh, look at that. There we are. Let's put in the value, comma, 9. There we are, this becomes normal. This one should be normal as well. If I put a value here, 3, save, and there we are. Now it works nicely.